you've ruined the day. But don't worry about it. Like,
Yeah,
just
it's
get
okay.
a cast back out there. Like, keep going.
Chin up.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Deep Drop. This is a fishing podcast that asks lots of questions, answer lots of answers. We get close to some. We sit on the fence with others, and we're probably miles off with most of them. Adam, is that fairly accurate on what we do here?
Yeah, no, you pretty well nailed it. I think what we try and do is whether you've never been fishing before or you're one of the more keen and avid anglers, we will throw a heap of questions that I guarantee you have asked yourself, your fishing buddy, or that you will ask yourself in the future as you continue to go. Luke, you and I have been working in this beautiful industry for quite a long time. We've worked in the retail space, so we've had many of these conversations with the punters out there of all different abilities. We've learnt from the best, and we thought, you know what? We often hear and listen to lots of things around, I guess, the more standard stuff about fishing. We could talk about how to tie knots and how to bait a pilchard so it doesn't spin in the current. We can talk about when to find snapper and when to start sounding. But you know what? When's the last time you heard a podcast where it was covered if what you're wearing is legit or not? what you should be eating while you're snacking out there?
Yeah.
If you have ever thought, I've been using this lure and it's been really successful for quite a long time. Surely whatever species would eat this. Yeah, we talk about that.
Yeah.
We talk about everything from Carpathon.
24.
If you know, you know.
If-
And if you don't know, go and listen to the back catalogue. You'll pick it up pretty quick.
Yes.
We've covered fishing in the Olympics. We've covered an NBA style tournament between fishing clubs. We've discussed more efficient ways to claim records. Whatever you have asked your mates or asked yourself on any given fishing trip in your life, we're gonna get to it if we haven't already.
Because we've been there. And that's where we are. We're still there. We go there. It's just what's so fun about this game that we're in, Ads.
Yeah, the brain goes at 1,000,000 miles an hour when it comes to fishing, and we're going to try and get all of that into a recorded podcast for as long as we can keep podcasting for. So, Luke, again, I've come to be quite known for the wordy answer when it comes to what is the deep drop. I didn't disappoint tonight, I don't think.
That's brilliant. I loved it. Thank you very much for that, Adam Ring. I'm Luke McCredden. And you know what? Thank you for coming along for this journey. For those that have been with us in the, what are we in, sort of mid-90s now, Ads, in the episode numbers. So thank you for being with us for this journey. And if you're new, if you're just sort of jumping on, don't let that introduction scare you. Like, this is part of Adam's routine. This is how he warms into each episode. He just gives a real solid spiel on what the deep drop is all about. Because quite frankly, no dumb questions. That's the ultimate.
No.
There's nothing stupid, nothing ridiculous, nothing out of the ordinary that you can say that will make us go, oh, that's a bit weird. No.
Don't know about that one. No, not at all.
Not at all.
Because guaranteed we'll take it in a direction that's even more weird than what you had initially intended.
And we'll take it too far, often.
Why not?
Yeah. And might get ourselves in trouble with some of the things that we say.
It's part of the journey, Luke.
But we have a lot of fun. And hey, the other thing is we don't take ourselves too seriously, Ads. We have as much fun with this as we did the first day we picked up a fishing rod, mate.
Correct.
And I think that's what it's all about. And I don't know, I still chuckle and giggle like a little school kid sometimes when I'm fishing. I don't know about you. Well, actually, I do know that you do the same.
Yeah, I do.
Even recently, just fishing in a local river, catching some really nice silver trevally, Ads, by the way. There's something about just that zing of a 6-pound braid off a small reel that just makes you get a little bit excited. I don't know.
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is, because the first hit or the first pluck on a plastic or the first little rod tip quiver of a bite on a bait for any given trip, regardless of what fish it is, you always get that. The first thought that pops into your mind is, "Oh, we're on here."
Yeah,
like this could be the day.
Be the session that we've dreamt of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you either hook into that fish and go, fucking toady.
So-
Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or undersized, but it's a start. At least I know they're here.
Yeah. And there's something about, actually, it's not a bad one. Like, you know, when you head out for the day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever sort of fishing you're doing, do you think it's better to get a fish straight off the bat to really get the hopes going and all right, we're on here, or we could be onto a good session here, and then potentially just dies off into a bit of nothing? It was just a bit of a one-off type, plucked a fish first in the first half a dozen casts. Would you prefer that, or a slow burn into what is a pretty solid session? Might not be the most red hot session of all time, but it's something solid. So I guess the options are you get a fish real early, like first 4 or 5 casts, and then maybe it might be an hour before the next one. Or would you prefer like a solid hour of just dogging it out, and then you finally start knocking a few over?
Definitely that one, because I think you want to finish the trip better than what it started.
Yeah,
I remember
nice.
having these conversations in the shop a bit, because you can be either explaining to someone how your last session went, or you could be hearing about someone else's session. And you can catch one fish in the first, let's say give it the first hour, you can catch one fish.
Yeah.
And say you go on to fish for the next 6, 7, 8 hours. If you don't get another one, you come home going, that was shit.
Yeah.
That didn't really go according to plan. Yet, if you donut through the first 3 hours, 4 hours, tide turns 3 hours or 4 hours into a 6 or 7 hour trip or session, and the back end is just loaded with fish, you walk away going, that was the best fishing trip I've ever had. You completely forget about the first, however many hours of nothing. But one thing I struggle with, and what I need to see as soon as possible, is a bite of some sort. And not like if you're bait fishing, you can generally tell if there's a few pickers around and they're just mucking around with baits. You generally know, but a solid bite, or if you're fishing a plastic, which I do quite a lot of,
you want to knock
that first pluck, that first little something, because I guarantee you always miss the first bite.
Yeah.
Because you're not quite, you're expecting, you're pumped up, but you're not quite sure. You get the first bite, and you just, the first thing in your mind is, ooh.
Yeah. It's kind of, it's like,
you know what I mean?
If you go to the line in the first minute of a basketball game for free throws, you're probably going to miss at least one of them, because you're just not ready for that yet. You're not sweaty. You haven't warmed into it.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're right. And even with and I know you do a lot of brim fishing ads. If you get a knock early and then bring your plucky back in, you've been pantsed. That's a great feeling.
That's as good as a cat. It's like, that was 100%. That was the fish that I was looking for.
Yeah.
That wasn't,
because that's what it is.
That wasn't a mullet, or
you need confirmation that you're in the right area and you're doing the right things.
Yes, because the rest is up to you then.
Yeah, because that's the biggest mind fuck. Is like, I've done everything in preparation. Am I just sitting on the wrong spot? Have I just drifted past the wrong...
slogged away for a couple of hours. Yeah. Nothing's happening.
You just give me a sign. Yeah.
Well, what about, and this goes back to, you touched on just before that you'd recently fished up your way and got stuck into a few trebs.
Yeah.
Now, you and I have spoken about this trip. I know exactly what you're doing, where you went. And silver trevally weren't, I guess, the targeted species. But say you were going into, I'll use brim fishing for example, because you can come across a few trevs or whatever.
Yeah.
If you went for a brim sesh up on the flats and you caught maybe 2 brim for the day, but you got 15 trevally, are you happy?
You've seen some action.
Yeah, you've definitely seen some action. But at what point do you go, righto, like this was fun for the first 2, but
yeah, well,
and trevalli's kind of the perfect species to go down this path on, because they're super fun to catch.
Yeah, great fun. Yeah,
but they probably haven't been considered the most desirable catch unless they're really big. They're generally a bycatch. Rarely do people go out going targeting the trevs today.
I don't
know, down your way it probably happens a little bit, because you do get good consistent runs of good fish, but it seems to be a fish where you're like, oh, the weather's a bit shit, I've got a couple of hours. I'll try and get a few trebs. No one goes, I'm going to go and target the trebs.
Nah, sometimes I would say around marinas and that sort of thing, maybe you go, let's go have a flick for some trebs. But it's not a day out. You might have an hour to spare and you go, let's go chuck a couple of plackies around and see if there's any silver trevally around. But I always do think that they're probably second on the list or, not quite first. They might be third or fourth on the list. But so they're kind of always the brides. They're always the bridesmaids.
I wonder why though. I wonder why though. Because you compare it to a brim, right? They grow. The average general size would be about the same as brim.
Average size, yeah.
They fight completely different to brim, but unbelievable to catch. Like super fun.
Mate.
And I'll put Australian salmon in the exact same category as a silver trevally.
Yeah.
No one gets up in the morning going, I'm going to go and have a crack at the Sambos today.
I would say people do more than that. Yeah. So I would say people do that. No, I know what you're saying.
If you're going into the bay, no one's like, let's go salmon fishing.
Let's put it this way. In Victoria, and WA is probably the only exception, but let's no one's launching their boat to catch salmon, are they?
Yeah, I know. But it's weird, though, because you can catch heaps of them. They do grow pretty big.
If you knew there were schools of big, like proper WA-sized salmon, that's different.
Yeah.
Because then you're stick baiting for them.
Yeah, true. But even in the bay, what if those fish were, say, 1.5 kilos to 2.5 kilos? Good ones. Like, good ones.
Don't care.
And you could go and catch like 30 of them in a session. Exactly, you don't care. But what if I said...
I feel bad for saying that because I love Australian salmon.
But this is why it's super interesting because then I could say, what about in November if I said you and I went snapper fishing and we caught 20 snapper? They were all between 1.5 kilos and 2.5 kilos. We'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'd take that. It'd be a good day on the plackies or something.
Yeah, exactly. But I mentioned salmon in the same, and you're just like, nah,
don't care. Nah, fuck it. I'm busy that day.
Isn't it weird?
I got to work.
Isn't it weird? Because they fight good.
Yeah.
Is it because you can it's generally easy enough if they're around to find a school and catch them? So you're like, they don't have that elusiveness to them.
They might not be as desirable as some of our other species, but I reckon you'd be hard pressed to find an angler that would come across a big patch of them busting up in the bay wherever, and they're out in the boat that doesn't flick a lure at them. You can't tell me there's people who see a big bust up and go, "Oh fuck it, I'm driving this way." Like you have to have a crack.
I reckon you'd be surprised.
Really?
Yep.
Even if unless you're on a hot bite of snapper and you just see him pop up over there and you go, "Oh, that's cool." If you're just cruising or even sounding around or just literally just commuting from spot to spot and you see a patch, you've got to chuck something at them. Just
yeah. I think you have to because you need to suss out how big they are and what they're doing.
Because the patch that you don't throw a lure at will be kingfish.
Yeah, 100%.
The patch that you go, oh, look at those salmon over there, and you go, nah, let's leave them alone. They're going to be tuna or kingfish. No, I don't know, but I think it might be just something that's ingrained in me from a little kid. I just remember some of the best memories of fishing as a little kid was Australian salmon in the bay and quite often off the beach, off the shore, or in the tinny. But Jesus, they're fun.
Something that's starting to gain some traction is how well a silver trevally eats.
Yeah, good. I don't mind them.
I think a lot of people, especially now that we've discovered how good they are sashimi. Do you think if the reputation of a silver trevally and how say it gains this insane popularity in the sashimi side of it, do you think it makes it a more desirable species for people to target? Are people going to start going, no, we're going to go and target silver trevally today?
Yeah, maybe. I actually think the edibility of anything adds to it, doesn't it? But like if if an Australian salmon ate like a King George whiting, would they be our most popular species ever? Because they're big, you can catch heaps. Probably.
And if they were the best eating fish going around.
Yeah, that would add to it. But I still think there's an element, and this might sound ridiculous, I still think there's an element to the silver trevally that they're an underrated, undervalued, underestimated species of fish, and for so many different ways. Like edibility, yeah, they're pretty good. Are they the best table fish in Victoria? Nah, but they're not bad. They're not terrible.
Yeah, they're not bad. No,
You know.
and there's been some like proper
But the other
growing
one,
reputation as far as a sashimi
Yeah.
style of it.
But the other one, when you think it now, this is kind of probably hard for Victorians and sort of southern state anglers to think about. But we talk about sport fishing, and it gets tossed away, and it's really only kingfish and tuna in Victoria. Reality is, this is a part of the trevally family that are notorious sport fishing species. When you start getting silver trevally up 40 plus centimetres, that's a sporting fight you've got on your hands right there. And like to the point where the other day, where, very light outfits, not particularly targeting them, we're thinking, geez, you're almost outgunned here with 6 pound braid, 6 pound leader. In fact, we got towed up a couple of times, and you're like, okay, this is all of a sudden now a challenge.
It is though, and they're one of those species where you can't go too heavy, because if you go, the trevally around, all right, I'll just bump on some 15 pound leader and muscle them in. You can't. Their mouths are so soft.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got to, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to play them out.
So I think, to my point, is if you can find, if you know where there's, decent supply of decent sized silver trevally, and I feel like there's quite a few pockets around Victoria, New South Wales, you can have some serious fun with them. And they put up a scrap like their relatives, give them credit for. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're a trevally species. They go hard.
So if I was to say NBA Finals, Game 7, silver trevally versus Australian salmon,
pound for pound,
who would you be barracking for? What would you prefer the win?
Who would I prefer to target?
Yeah,
silver trevally, pound for pound.
Yeah, me too.
Because
I didn't even need to think about it.
Nah. And as I said before, I love Australian salmon. I'll never not. I just think they're a great, fun sport fish for my kids, when I was a kid, all that. But silvers have got something else going on.
Yeah, I agree.
Catching them in 1.5 meters of water or 20 metres of water, whatever it is, they've got a bit of attitude. They know...
Yeah.
They know where their stumps are, so to speak, using plenty of sporting analogies tonight. But if they've got a bit of structure around them, they know how to fuck you up.
And even if there's no structure, they're just going to get to a point where they turn on their side and just do a little bit of circle work. They'll make you work just to get them in the boat. Whereas a salmon will go along time after time after time, and they'll fight to the rod tip, but you can knock them over.
Yeah, there's been some times the last couple of weeks fishing for them where I've done more than one lap of the boat.
Yeah,
to work them around, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can think you can
just got to go with them.
Yeah, and like I said, that's using light gear. But to your point before, it was a good one. You kind of got to. There's a point where you can't get too much heavier. So like the lighter look, I guess it's probably similar for a lot of species, but the lighter outfit you use or leader, the more bites you'll get. But geez, like you certainly. Once they get big and they, like you say, they can use their flanks and turn on their side, and it's not easy. It's great, but I think pound for pound, I would take a day or a session on them over Australian salmon. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And I look, because the beauty of both of those species, you can get them in so many different ways: soft plastics, surface.
Yeah, that's right. Just floating baits out. You can get them accidentally. They'll sip baits off the bottom. They'll generally do everything.
Hey, floating baits out just reminded me of something. Now, Ads, I like to have lots and lots of fun on Instagram with some of the videos we get sent. And I got sent. I got sent one during the week, and I need to do a shout out on this one because it was a classic. But just for a bit of context, the the videos we originally found some and did some reaction sort of style vids and it's turned into lots of people sending us videos now, which is awesome. And
Yeah.
please don't stop. Keep them coming.
Yeah,
'cause
keep them coming.
They're just so much fun. Shout out Marty Phillips, who's a regular contributor to the Deep Drop. So constantly
He's a superstar, Marty.
flicking some messages through and stuff, and love it. So thanks for your support, Marty. You're always giving us shout outs on the Instagram, which is great. Send me through a video, and I genuinely was like, this is cool. This thing is amazing.
That's right. It's not supposed to be, I don't think, like a funny sort of bullshit video.
Well, it was pretty much.
I watched it. I watched your reaction to it on Insta today, and thought that's actually pretty sweet.
I want people, we try and explain it. I want people to go and have a look at what we're talking about because it'll make more sense when you see it. But effectively, it's so the Deep Drop on Instagram. Go find that. You'll see the video we're talking about. Effectively, it's like a bait feeder. It's mounted to the side of a boat, and it's like a treadmill,
like a hooked conveyor belt.
Yeah, with little hooks on it, and all you do is dump your pilchard cubes in this tub, and the hooks will just pick up bits of pilchard on the way up and drop them overboard.
And you just get a consistent and constant burley trail.
Another shout out, Costa from Hooked Up magazine gave me a call today. We was chatting about things, and he said, "Oh, by the way, I saw you on your head on Instagram talking about this." He goes, "That's a pretty cool thing," and I'm like, "It is cool." So that's what I'm saying. He's like, straight away, what comes to mind? He goes, "Yellowfin tuna." I'm like,
"Yeah, that's right, Cuban, 100%."
So I'm just like, I need to learn more about this thing and where it's from. Because I also thought even just snapper in the bay, surely that's not a bad burley source.
I thought exactly the same thing. Because straight away, like you, I thought, the yellowfin guys would lose their mind.
Yeah, the cubing thing that's because anyone who's cubed, fucking hell, it's pretty fucking boring. Like, you don't want to be that guy. And I've been that guy. Who's going to start chopping up the pilchard? Yeah, okay. And they're all frozen and it's hard to cut through them. And you're just creating this bucket of cubes. And after a while, you start, nearly adding to the cubing bucket, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then, all right, let's start going. And it's not like grab a handful and go. It's like, no, it's one at a time. One. Oh, my God. This thing just does it.
Did it for you.
It does it.
Yeah.
So picture a very slow conveyor belt that just feeds one or two cubes. I think it was great.
Yeah, I agree. It looked like a genuine, useful product because I see that your reactions go up, and I'm like, oh, okay, what funny shit have we got? And then I'm watching that one, I'm like, this is not funny. It's actually cool.
Yeah. Just take my money. Let's get it.
And we need to find out what it is. It looked like it come from some Italian brand. It had a little Italian flag on the motor part to it.
Top catch or top game or something like that. It said on it. But anyway, we'll find out.
It's pretty cool.
Anyone's seen it and has some idea of where this thing comes from.
And more importantly, if anyone's got one,
let's see it.
Let us know because
it says on it.
Because it looks like it ticks all the boxes.
I'd
love to know whether it's legit or.
Yeah, well, the original post was all written in Italian, I'm assuming, given the little flag. So I had no idea. I could have researched that and translated, but it's just not part of my makeup ads. So I couldn't be bothered doing that.
Got to react at face value. It's a reaction, not a.
Yeah. So keep them coming. They're good fun. We've had some crackers in the last few weeks. So there's some rippers still sitting there. And apologies to everyone if they've sent them through, waiting for them to come up. There's so many. Keep them going. But again, just flipping back, that just reminded me. But flipping back again, I just wanted to talk about. There is another video that I've just put up the other day on their ads too, actually, which is not a reaction video, but well, in some ways it is. And off the top, we were talking about that excitement that you get. Well, we still certainly do when you get a knock or you get a bite or whatever it is. I caught up with our good mate Lee Rayner the other day, and we went for a fish, and we're talking about similar sort of stuff. But he then hooked up, and it was a proper fish. And where we were, there are the odd dewy, but also big Trev's, whatever else. And this thing took off, and I saw him glance at me just briefly, and I'm like, oh, this could be, he's got a look in his eye here. And as we know, Lee's one of the most accomplished anglers in Australia, and it's something about him when he felt that hook up. And then he dropped it. And there was a look on his face for a few seconds where he just went, fuck, don't know, but I might have just dropped a good one. But then I'm like, that's still something that I think is really cool about what we do, our industry, our sport, our hobby, whatever you want to call it. There is so much unknown still about it.
Oh,
and
100%.
if you've been fishing for 30 years and you drop a fish and that's what consumes you for the next couple of weeks, I reckon it's brilliant. I love that.
The best part about watching anyone get towed up, whether it's just obliterated into a snag, whether it's just pulled hooks, whether it's whatever, but you know it's half decent, and even if it's not half decent, but you know it's the species that you're targeting and it gets off.
Yeah.
There is nothing better than watching the face of pure disbelief, and everybody gets it every single time, where the first initial thought is, how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
Because if you drop a fish, you think, how does that happen?
Yeah.
Like if you get towed up on a snag, you're like, well, I've got all the modern, cool, like best tackle. This isn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But it's the same look on every angler's face. It's like, the fuck just happened?
It's a mix between embarrassment, shock, anger, frustration, and desire to go and get that fish again.
It's the weirdest feeling to try and describe because you don't know, and especially if it's one of those real cool ones, like one of those real brutal ones where you hook up and it's on straight away. So you hook up and this thing either goes long and hard, or in a split second, all of a sudden you're hung up on a snag going, I didn't even have a chance to try and get a wind in, like on this thing. Those ones that happen real quick, they're the ones where you're just like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, and I was going to say,
whatever it was, I want to see it.
I want to see it, and that's all. I don't even have to boat it. I just let me see it, because that's the thing. Like you can hook a whatever kingy or anything that can cause you trouble, and if you see it and then it goes back down and reefs you or something, you go, oh fuck, that's annoying. But so that was a nice
I knew what it was. I had a rough idea of the size on it.
It's when you don't know, you just start. Your brain just instantly goes into frazzled mode, going, what was it? What was it? It was clearly the biggest fish in the world.
Yes, and I think like from an estuary fishing perspective, straight away, it's like that was a Jew. If you're anywhere where you know that there's Jewies in the system, you're like, oh, you reckon? You reckon it was it?
Instant reaction is you just dropped a Jewy, and and I think I said that, but when you and it was probably a massive one. You've ruined the day, but don't worry about it. Like, just get a cast back out there. Like, keep going.
Chin up.
Yeah, you fucked it for everyone, but whatever, that's fine. In fact, just sit down. You're not fishing anymore. But and then when you think about it later, you go, I was probably just a decent sized Trev or whatever.
Big Trev or that's right.
But there's dropped unidentified captures that I still have vivid memories of, and some of them are decades ago.
Yeah,
but you know what you probably do. So I reckon everyone does. Like,
there's a couple that come to mind for me. One of which I was on the rod, and a couple that a mate was on the rod. Some of the stuff you see, you're like, how is that? How is that even possible?
I could reel them off, and they count for absolutely nothing telling the story about them because you don't know what it was.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember one day on my boat with Big Johnny Hastings. You remember John Hastings?
Yep.
He played cricket for Australia. And Mitch Chapman. And Mitch hooked something. We're out snapper fishing. And it just, I don't know. It was one of those things that was like, if this is a snapper, it's fucking massive.
It's a proper one. Yeah.
But then it's also a spot where there's been some big mulloway caught, and it did us on the anchor rope, and he fought it for ages, and I'll never forget it. And I ran into I caught up briefly just via text with Haystow recently, and this is going back 10 plus years, and he's like, "Remember that?" I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah, like it was yesterday.
Do you know what I mean? So it does. It sticks with you. So it's just it's incredible. But I don't know. I think everyone would have that. In fact, can we get some sort of snapshot of what it is for everyone out there listening? What is the most memorable
non-capture?
Non-capture. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if the more mayo you put on it, the better.
Well, there's some freaky shit that's happened in fishing. Like, let's be honest. Like, one that I'll never ever forget, and it wasn't even me on the rod. It was Chapman again, actually.
Well,
we were perch fishing, and Mitch's hooked one. It hit it in a snag, but it swam out from the snag, did a full lap of the boat, and then dusted him on the exact same snag that it was hooked on. So, pluck, set the hook, come out of the snag, went around the front of the boat, all the way to the back, all the way back round to the front, and then did him on the same snag that he hooked it on. I've never seen any fish behave like that. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a perch. I don't know if it was a ludric. I don't know if it was one of those big filthy mullet. I don't know, but it just did weird shit. Like I've seen big fish caught in an estuary in snags, whether they're brim or perch or ludric or mullet or whatever. I've seen them caught. Nothing's ever done this. It's almost like that whatever it was knew that it was hooked, but knew it was going to win, and thought, you know what? I'm just going to fuck around with them for a bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to put on a show.
Yeah.
And there's not a thing you can do about it. Now, Mitch isn't some like just random fisho. He knows what's up. He knows what's doing.
Yeah.
He knows how much pressure he can put. He knows how much pressure he can't put.
Yeah.
He wasn't mucking around on this fish. But it was over so quick, yet seemed to go on for so long, and there was nothing he could have done about it. Again, we just looked at each other with our hands in the air going, what the hell just happened? Like, what happened?
And I love the conversations that stem from those sort of moments, and for years to come. What's more, they're two very different feelings. You're either on the rod or you're not. And I don't know what's a worse feeling. There's one where if you're on the rod, you feel like you've really let yourself and the team down.
Well, because you start playing the what ifs. Like, what if I just went a tiny bit harder or not hard enough? Like,
and there's the other the other person who's not on the rod going, for fuck's sake, I really wanted to see what that was, and you fucked it.
Naturally, everyone wants to see what it was, but it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's so cool.
Well, give us your most memorable non-capture.
It's a perfect one to send through like a little voice memo thing to us.
Yeah. Please
tell us the story.
Yeah. We had some good voice messages during the week, so shout out to everyone who sent through some messages. A couple in relation to the technology piece, ads.
Yeah, I thought we might get a little bit on the AI front.
Yeah. I think we're not far off the mark, mate. Elon messaged. No, he didn't.
left a voice message.
Yeah, this is Elon Musk. What you were saying about that boat, I'm going to need you to keep that quiet because we're already in production.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is fine. Just send us some prototypes. That's all I ask.
Yeah, we'll just have a look at a launch model.
As we said, there's always fuck ups at the start, so we'll be the
we'll iron out the kinks.
Yeah,
we'll iron out the kinks.
Yeah, we certainly would find the fuck ups.
Yeah, we'll find them. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think unidentified or non-captures it brings out the best in people.
Yeah. So everyone's
some of the best.
And you know what? What do you reckon the percentage of those non-captures would just be shit fish? Like, as in, it's it's a eagle rays are one of those ones down here for us in Vic, because an eagle ray can impersonate a really good proper fish.
Bloody oath.
Real easy.
Actually,
they'll make it look like head shakes. They'll run hard. They'll
Yeah.
stick themselves at the bottom like I'm flying out of the water. Like, they'll do everything.
what percent? Here's a bit of a twist on that. What percentage of people? And I'm going to use Western Port in Victoria. I'm going to use the Hawkesbury in New South for all you Sydney folk listening.
Yeah.
And anywhere really, there's a combination. But how many people have busted off intentionally Deweys, thinking they're stingrays,
Yeah.
eagle rays, any sort of ray?
I think there's quite a high percentage of anglers out there that have called stingray.
Yeah.
And they've either popped off like a tail wrapped gummy, a good one,
Yeah.
or they've just busted off a Jew, or even maybe not so much a big snapper. They tend to give themselves away fairly early.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, how many times do you reckon?
I reckon heaps. And I actually had a story shared with me. And let us know, by the way, if there's any form of evidence, because that's the hardest part. You'll never know.
Yeah, you'll never know.
Having said that, I had a story shared with me recently of a guy who, in Western Port, hooked up, screamed off for ages and went, fuck, here we go. Did his best to pull, to bust a line. Even did the straight rod thing where you're pointing at it and just trying to... couldn't get it. This thing, he ended up just, I'll keep fighting and I'll try. Got it, boat side, it was a Dewey.
So
big proper mulloway.
So how, as an angler that wasn't on the rod, how fucked off would you be standing next to him thinking, I've dropped good fish not trying. I've done everything right. I've struck hard at the right time. I've angled perfectly. My drag's working exactly how it should be. I'm get everything on my terms, and hooks pull.
Yeah.
And then old mate here is locked drag, held the spool, pointed the rod tip, and given it the old just fucking bust.
Yeah.
And it ends up being a tank of a mulloway, which was called a stingray the whole way.
And it would have been the most no fucks given fight as well.
Yeah, just muscled it in, giving it nothing.
Muscled it in, given no... when you're fighting a fish like that, you go, let it go. If it wants to run, you let it run. Give it...
Yeah,
go easy on it. He's gone...
The old pump and wind, where on every pump, it's just clamping the spool so it gives it nothing.
Yeah. Every single pump is just like, if it snaps, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm trying to get rid of it.
I'm trying to, yeah.
And I don't want this thing both side.
That reaction would just be like, oh...
Do you reckon? Do you reckon after it's all said and done, and let's use the mulloway example. Mulloway's in the boat. You've seen exactly how big it is. It's a weapon. Like it's a tank of a fish. Everything's been done. The photos, the release, the whole lot. If that happened to you, do you reckon there would be the thought sitting back at the end going, "Did I just waste the fish of a lifetime because I thought it was a stingray?"
Didn't appreciate the fight at all.
Did I miss out? Did I miss out on the genuine nerves and excitement the whole time? Because you know what it's like. If you're fishing for something, whether it be kingfish, whether it be whatever, and the rod takes off, and you know that it can't be anything else.
Yeah,
it's either that big bluefin, or it's a big kingy, or it's a big snapper,
I get that feeling if I'm whiting fishing and I think this is a proper King George, a big whiting. The whole time you're like, don't drop it. Just don't, and you don't fall off. Don't fall off. Especially if these fish that run long and it could be a few minutes. You're just thinking, nah, he's just bypassed all of it, going, you know what? It's a ray. I'm just bust the bastard off so I don't have to deal with its tail boat side. And done everything you physically can to lose it, and then realise it's a mulloway. Do you sit back and think, I'm the luckiest fisho ever? Or do you sit back and go, I didn't get the full experience.
I missed it.
Yeah.
I skipped the nerves and went straight to the celebration.
Yeah. He's like the guy that, the father that only found out he's got a son when the son's 15. Yeah. I don't... Yeah, I mean, there would be. I think the overwhelming emotion would just be, holy fuck.
Yeah.
What are the odds? I've done everything I can to lose this. Listen, I don't know this particular angler. This story got shared with me, but I'd love to. If anyone else has got a story like that,
I'm
please
sure that's
share it.
happened to people listening. I'm sure it has.
Like I said, the systems that just have got those undesirables. Like I said, Hawkesbury's one of those places that I know. I've heard of stories that sort of thing. Western Port in Victoria, like the amount of hookups you get there, like you said, whether it's gummies, schoolies, bronzies, 7 gillet, all these things that just pull string, buckle your rod over. And sometimes you go, don't want it, but don't know.
It ends up being that fish.
It could be the one. And we've all done it. We've all gone, that's a ray.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And, a fair chunk of that time, or I would say the vast majority.
Vast majority,
it is
probably
a shit
is.
fish.
Yeah. Big 7 giller or something.
Yeah. But imagine knowing. Imagine you've pinged it and then it swims up and just has a look and just shakes its head going, dickhead. Let us know. I'd love to know. Have you pinged off a trophy fish?
That's. I reckon there's a few. There's a few that's either tried real hard and then right at the last second they have busted it off after they've seen that either a flash of colour or they've seen it.
But then, if that's happened, if you've been lucky enough to then boat it and go, oh, it's actually a mulloway or whatever, big gummy or snapper, does it then mean you can't ping off anything? You've got to get everything boat side after that. Every ray, every shovel nose, every bloody crap.
But
Port Jackson
I bet you it doesn't happen though, because it's really interesting because you do start to get a bit of a rhythm where you're like, oh no, but every now and then a fish does dumb shit and either just pretends to be something it's not, or you get something like a 7 gill that'll do absolutely everything that a gummy will do. Will take off hard, couple of head shakes, or swim back to the boat a little bit, and you'll be like, oh, this is a good gummy. And it rolls up, and it's just a sloppy 7 gill.
Yeah. Just what a disappointment.
Yeah. That happens a fair bit, I reckon.
That happens a lot.
A lot, yeah.
That happens a lot. And everyone on the boat's disappointed because everyone's geared up, ready to go with a net or a gaff or whatever it is. And here we go. Turn the music up, boys.
Yeah, I can see the leader. I can see the leader not. Okay, there's a swivel. There's the swivel.
There's colour. There's colour.
And it's the wrong colour, fuck.
There's colour. It's one of the most said things ever on a boat.
Yeah,
there's colour. Got colour.
Yeah.
What? Oh, you mean you see the fish? There's a lot of buzzwords in fishing, isn't there?
There is. Yeah,
maybe we need to. Maybe that's something we can tackle in another episode. Top 5 buzzwords in fishing. I could go. Yeah, God, I could go through some buzzwords in just like corporate, marketing and that sort of shit.
Oh yeah, but there's some of the most basic ones though
in fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, let's do that. Let's do that on another episode because we need to dive
go for a
into
while.
that. In fact, I'm going to involve the listeners now, and we'll bring it up again. But send us
kick
through,
us off.
Yeah, send us through. Yeah, kick us off. So we're actually you guys out there listening are gonna set the tone for next week's episode.
Just give us one off the top. What are you thinking? What do you think?
Me?
Off the top, what's just one? I've got one.
You go.
Just a simple one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't. And this is the reason I've thrown it out to another episode because I think if I sit down, I'll be able to come up with.
I can already think of a few.
But so what I want to do though is, as I said, I want to throw it. Start us off. Give us 1. Give us 5. I don't care. Give us some examples of fishing buzzwords. I'm not going to put it out there on a series. This is for the listeners.
Yep.
Because we're then going to create the top 5 fishing buzzwords.
I love it.
Or
and it could be for anything. It could be anything.
Maybe we will put it on socials ads, and then we'll collate it and talk about it next week.
Yeah.
This is the deep drop planning.
This is research. We're researching real time. Right now.
This is how our planning meetings go. Yeah. We just during the show.
Well, the 3 minutes before we go on, record every week.
Yeah. Like sometimes ads will just text me and I haven't even seen the text and we're already recording.
We're already
And I'll
talking about it.
Oh, you wanted to talk about buzzwords. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think, all right, let's do that. That'd be good.
Buzzwords,
All right, buzzwords,
All right,
fishing
so
buzzwords.
okay, so
let us know.
keep an eye on Insta, everybody. There's going to be a few bits and pieces that go up this week, but
think
we
we'll
definitely
put it in-
need you for that one.
We do. I think we'll put it in stories where and put the question there and you can answer it and we'll collate them.
And then we can give you the results.
Again, planning meeting.
Yeah, write this down because I'll forget come next week.
I'm literally writing it down. Like I'm not. Hey, look, hey, I don't shy away from. I'm open. I'm open with the deep drop listeners because I trust
for sure.
you guys. I trust you guys.
For sure. We saw what happened
don't
with
judge.
the top 5 best looking species. We ended up with, fair but questionable ones, I reckon.
I'm thinking with top 5 again. This is this is a real time meeting. Thinking with our top 5s ads and listeners because you're all part of it. We might start putting as we collate some of these top 5s, putting them on the website as a bit of a because I feel like they need to live.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
then we
so
can run
they've actually
updates and
yeah.
because
we might
that's
look
not
at
bad.
that.
That's not bad.
We might look at the top 5 coolest looking fish list in 12 months and go, refresh. It's time to refresh.
Yeah, it's time to
Redfin,
revisit
sorry.
this.
Yeah. Well,
It
hey,
could-
I didn't mean to
it
offend
could-
you then, but
it-
the
it
look on
could-
your face when I said Redfin, I'm sorry,
We
you
could
looked at me like, I'm out.
Because we could revisit it, and 1, 2, and 3 could be Redfin. It's that overwhelming that it needs to be in the top 5.
Redfin's a global phenomenon. And I think it's because we talk about it. It keeps popping up in my newsfeed, but not just from Australia, from fucking everywhere.
Yeah, it's awesome because they're Redfin.
Because they're
The
Redfin.
the face of fishing, Redfin.
We are also getting close to the time of year ads where we actually said on an episode, probably going back a fair few now, that we're doing a ready mission.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to think
we've-
of...
So we've got some destinations. We've got some. I think August was our sort of, our
The time of year.
that we're going to throw it out there and do a bit of a ready mish.
Yep.
So if anyone wants to help us and guide us in the right direction, it'd be good. Yeah,
I like
we've
it.
got got plenty.
We've
of
got a
all
few
right,
things to do.
we do.
But
We've
we
got a big
always
week.
but we always come up with these things in the middle of freaking winter.
We've got a big couple of weeks ads, and when I'm not. That's all I'm going to say about that. But keep your eyes peeled on. I would
Gotta
say
be on.
Instagram.
Yeah, Insta.
And then, obviously, we'll be talking about all sorts of
Yeah.
wonderful stuff. All right, well, I'm going to leave it there. I think we've got a bit of work to do. You listeners, have got some work to do.
Yep.
We want to hear your most memorable non-captures. Identified or unidentified is preferable because, it just leaves you wondering. And claim it, what you think it was.
Yeah, that's right. No judgment.
Marlin on the top end of Port Phillip Bay, what? Sure.
Yeah, what?
And then, of course, we're going to put together our top 5 fishing buzzwords. That'll be next week, but we're going to start it now. So get on Instagram and tell
Let
us.
us know, and then we'll collate, have our input, and come up with the top 5.
Yeah, based on your feedback, and we'll come up
Love
with
it.
a few as well. All right, beautiful. All right, Adam, good
Love
work.
it.
The Deep Drop on Instagram, the deepdrop.au on the World Wide Web is where you can sort of check us out. Have a look. Keep in touch. Share us your thoughts. Give us some voice messages. Don't be shy.
Yeah,
No
do it.
judgment. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.
Peace.